So
Thank
now
you.
I welcome Mr. Kishore Balaji. He's again well-known person in the corporate fraternity, and we are very happy to have you, Mr. Kishore Balaji. I welcome you on behalf of ICT Academy and the entire education fraternity. Mr. Kishore, I think most of you will know him if you were working in the areas like digital literacy or Atal innovation, etc. He's with more than 25 years of experience in the IT industry. Currently, he is the Director Government Affairs of Intel South Asia, of Intel Corporation. And he's the real brain behind the National Digital Literacy Mission in the initial days when it started. All his ideas and thoughts, what he implemented in Intel, played a major role in developing that program. And he plays a key role in Atal Innovation Mission, specifically the Tinkering Lab program, which all schools are having. And he's a very, very seasoned industry person, worked with Intel, earlier Microsoft, QI, Hughes, and more. So I don't want to take much time in introducing because his LinkedIn profile gives more details. So I would request Mr. Kishore to address the educator fraternity.
Great. Firstly, pleasure listening to you, Dr. Bora. Always a pleasure listening to you. So, a great speech. Congratulations on that. And Anbu, thanks a lot for having provided this opportunity to me. It's always a pleasure associating with ICT Academy, and any opportunity to talk to about 3,000 people is a great opportunity. And I'm only hoping that I can do justice to the large burden that you've placed on me to address such a large gathering.
Perfect.
So, good morning. Awesome talking to 3,000 odd people today. It's my pleasure. And who would have thought that such a minute, invisible virus would one day provide such a beautiful opportunity for me to talk to you from the comfort of my living room. So always a pleasure. Having said that, one thing I certainly miss is personal interaction. I would have loved for us to be face to face so that I get a sense of if what I'm saying is resonating with you, and maybe then follow through with discussions face to face. Now, we have to play with the cards that we've been dealt with, and this is the situation. So let's go right ahead. Brief introduction. I'm Kishore Balaji, and apart from everything that Anbu said, I'm a very, very worried man. I'm a worried man, not because I have another 15 years of work to do in this vastly changing work environment. I'm a worried man, not because I have kids who are going to college who keep asking me, Dad, what do I do next? I'm a worried man, not because COVID is literally impacting hundreds and millions of jobs globally in my peerhood. I'm a worried man because we are amidst vast change. I'm a worried man because for those of you all who are not initiated in this, we are amidst a big change that is happening as we speak. Now, I'm talking about the waves of industrial revolution. Now, for those of you who've paid attention while in school, there are multiple waves of industrial revolution that change the face of humanity, that change the face of work every time they occur. The first such occurred in the 17th century when coal and steam was found out. The second one, the second industrial revolution was manufacturing line innovation, which was brought about by electrification. The third was, just the industrial revolution, which happened around the bend in 1960s. That quite lasted till about 5-6 years back. That saw the advent of PCs replacing a lot of tasks that we currently do. That's the industrial revolution where people coped a lot and India became a formidable force in the ICT economy. But today, we are at the cusp of what I call the fourth industrial revolution. Now, this is an industrial revolution which will bring together biology, physics, chemistry with the power of ICT to change the face of Earth. Everything that you speak about or that you saw and read in all your science fiction novels is happening right now. You see people walking with artificial limbs. You see people trying to fly with bionic wings. You see such innovations everywhere where technology is able to couple itself with biological interventions, physical interventions, chemical interventions, and create a whole new world. The reason why I said I'm worried about it is while all this is happening, I see a lot of ourselves, I include me in this set, among students, among academia, among government, be very, very, insulated to this change. And we don't account for this change in our career planning, in our academic planning, in our governance, in our policy, so on and so forth. And I think it's very, very important that we all get as worried as I am, or perhaps more, to embrace this fourth industrial revolution. Now, this industrial revolution is very, very different from the ones in past, because here technology will be playing an integral and a fulcrum role in things to come. On screen, I have flashed some technologies that are pretty much key drivers to this industrial revolution. May it be 3D printing, may it be AI, may it be smart machines, may it be merged reality, may it be blockchain, distributed ledger. All of this are coming together to change the face of how technology would be used and consumed in the world forever. Mind you, each of this technology, just by themselves, have a huge capability to disrupt. And if all of this were to come together, the world is going to be a very, very different place than we know it as today. I was speaking to a technologist some time back who said AI today in the students community, in the academic community, is seen as another technology. That's a blunder. If you recall, internet had a huge exponential impact on the way we transacted. AI has a potential to be 100 times more productive, more lethal, and more disruptive as internet. So don't look at AI as you would look at a Java wave or a Python wave. Look at AI, which is going to be very disruptive and which is going to bring at least 25% incremental change of what connectivity, what internet brought to mankind. Now in the fourth industrial revolution, as these technologies hit, workplace is going to be a very, very different place. And there are 7 known disruptors that I'm going to talk about. The workplace is going to be a very, very different place because technology is everywhere. 6 out of 7.5 billion people in the world today are connected in some form or other. That is a huge opportunity. There's a tsunami of data out there. 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created every single day. I was speaking to the CTO of Reliance Industries who said Reliance produces as much data in a day that US produces in a year. That's the quantum of data that we are talking about. And that is data is going to be knowledge, data is going to be inference are going to be decisions. So that is the way data is going to have a profound impact on future of work. The third pillar is diversity, right? Not in the coming times, even as we speak now, the workforce out there has 5 different age groups that are operating in its workplace, right? So right from people who are on the verge of retiring to people who are millennials who've just joined the workforce, they're all together, compelling organizations to look at their culture, their strategies to cater to different workforce aspirations and so on. What is also significant in future of work is, my dad lived through 2 careers all his life. I'm living through 4 careers already. On an average, millennials like you all who step into the workforce will live if not more, at least 5 different careers in your whole career, right? The average age at a job is going to drastically shrink. Another thing that's happening that you should be cognizant of is there's an explosion of contingent work. There is an explosion of gig economy. People don't have to be wedded to one company. They can come in, do a part of the job, and do multiple such jobs at the same time. Also, there's a rise of machine. So many jobs are at the risk of automation, and AI continues to play a pivotal role in the workforce disruption. As we speak, these are the known disruption. One big disruption happened 2 months back, the COVID.
Hello.
COVID has had a profound impact on the future of work, and I'll talk about it in future slides. But what
I have kept the...
When we started, we spoke about 7 known disruptors, but suddenly COVID came in and became one of the biggest disruptor one can think about in the workforce. So to conclude on this, we don't know what we don't know is out there, and COVID is a great example. Now, while fourth industrial revolution is happening, while technology is changing, while workplaces are changing, organizations are changing. Today, never like in past, organizations are putting digital as a fulcrum to their redefinition strategy. Digital transformation is core to at least 75% of the organizations, irrespective of the industry type, which goes on to say that digital medium technology is becoming all too pervasive and is becoming a critical ingredient to any organization's success. Digital is also helping disrupt industry leaders. All the industry leaders that you see today are getting disrupted out, digitally. Famous cliche you would have heard: a hotel company today is not as big as an Airbnb. A taxi company today is not as big as an Ola, right? So that's the power technology can bring in to disrupt the leader box within the industry. Again, I spoke about how a larger footprint of millennials, this year, 50% of any workforce in the organization will be in the age group of 25 and below, right? Will be millennials. And that's going to have a profound impact on business. So in the context of whatever I've spoken, this is how businesses are changing. Now, in changing business, workforces are changing. I've covered it adequately. There are umpteen challenges in trying to accommodate a baby boomer and a millennial at the same time in an organization. Millennials come with different aspirations. They don't value money as much as they would value about brand association with a company or the job satisfaction. A millennial would look at career growth on a fast track. He would look at growth every 2 years, every 2.5 years. That causes a lot of impact on the way organization works and the workforce gets itself organized in the world. The learning landscape is changing. Just like the business landscape is changing, just like the workforce landscape is changing, the learning landscape is changing. This is a broad graph of how learning happens today. Largely in a 16-hour workday, close to about 20% is spent among the K-12 group in concentrated learning. Similarly, close to 10% is spent, in the post K-12 space, post school and college space in learning. And a continuous education is seldom pursued today. Having said that, they are in spots. But the amount of disruption COVID has brought in, just in the last 2 months, you take Coursera, you take Udemy, you take Unacademy, you take Khan Academy, all of them have reported at least 700% growth every week. It's not per year, it's not per quarter. 700% increase on their usage, subscriber base every week is what informal learning is seeing as a growth, thanks to technology, accelerated rapidly by COVID. So you must appreciate things are moving extremely fast around you. You must pay attention to technologies that are coming. You must get cognizant of how organizations are changing, learning paradigms are changing, and workforce is changing. Now, what do we do in a situation like this? When I say what do we, I mean what do you do as people who are redefining your careers or building your career? What do people like us do in organizations? What do, let's say, ICT Academy do in situations like this? Now, do we wait and do we say, hey, you know what? Is this rate of technology change good? Shall we slow it down? Shall we do something to restrict the use of technology, etc.? Now, that to me is very, very lopsided view. We have to embrace the fourth industrial revolution and participate and come out winners. For that to start, we cannot, like Robert Schiller says, we cannot wait for our house to burn down before we buy fire insurance. So we cannot, in some sense, let the tsunami of fourth industrial revolution hit us, change our structure, societal structures, change our organizational structures, to change our learning structures, and then react to it. Our job as people in the workforce ecosystem, including students like you, is to embrace this change. How do we embrace this change, right? So today it is AI, tomorrow it could be something else, right? I believe technology is a horizontal. Each of you would be passionate about some area that you could pick up. But beyond that, it is important to look at what are the driving changes in the skilling landscape in the fourth industrial revolution. The machines are rising. The world is getting computational. There is extreme longevity, right? So all of us will outlive our forefathers leaps and bounds because of all the interventions in the medical space. Superstructured organizations are getting created, right? Like I mentioned, the new media ecology is here. Our parents were used to news on the radio. Now we have news everywhere in our hand, on social media, everywhere. And lastly, we are living in a global connected world, right? So before I spoke to you, I was in a call with my colleague in Poland, and we were working on something. So this is here to stay. So these six significant changes determine some skills that you all will need to survive and thrive and grow in the fourth industrial revolution. I'm not going to read all of it, but those are broadly around skills in new media literacy, computational thinking, cross-cultural competency, virtual teaming, sense making, so on and so forth. I mean, how do you collaborate with people you haven't not even seen, you have not even met? You just get onto a call and work. Those are skills that you need to acquire. These skills remain very scarce. It is sad that today's academia hasn't embraced this, as we speak. But I see a lot of interest, a lot of ambition within of that segment to get skills like this within of their realm. Great initiative by the government of India, Niti Aayog, the Tinker Lab program embraces this philosophy and tries to provide such skills to students in school and college. But it is important that you all look at avenues to reskill yourself in such building block skills. And on top of it, when you layer it with topical technology skilling, it will make you a winner in the fourth industrial revolution. One thing that you all have to know and realize is, unlike my previous generation, to some extent my generation, education is no more a destination. It's not as though I like a space, I get into an institute, I go through classes, I understand, I become an expert, and I become a master. And then I get a job to use that skill. It's not going to be like that anymore. Like I said, in this rapid change, lot of skilling, unskilling, reskilling, unlearning has to happen. So the new paradigm for education is adaptability. More education is not the answer. You can't keep pouring indefinite quantity of education in one limited brain. Adaptive learning is the new paradigm for education. And I would strongly encourage academicians who are online to embrace this principle. And as students, I would like you all to be cognizant that you have to be ready to go the grind of learning, creating, experimenting, applying, rewiring, reframing, etc. Right? This, I hope, will prepare you for what I call the jobs of the future. Now, jobs of the future aren't created today. If I spoke about this 3 years back, the job of the future was social media marketer. It wasn't taught in any college. It wasn't taught in any, MBA school. But that was the largest growing job for 2020. Here are the jobs that I would want to introduce as jobs that are out there in the future that you should have your eyes on when you are in the prime of your career. These are the nature of jobs that are going to be available. Organ creator, augmented reality journey builder, rewilder. Rewilder is someone who will recoup the concrete spaces like Chennai and Bangalore and make them green. Biofilm installers, digital currency advisors, drone traffic controllers, human machine teaming managers, garbage designers, believe you me, fuel cell auditors. These are the kind of jobs that you have to aspire and therefore build your skills in accordance with over a period of time. Do not lose sight of it. Do not want to be a coder in an IT service industry for a purpose in life. You can start with that, but please have your goals set on such jobs that don't exist today. But when you are as old as I am, this is the job that's going to be there, and therefore you need to prepare for it right now, right? So far I've spoken about how you are in a precarious position and there is a tsunami of change happening around you. Organizations are changing, workforces are changing, learning paradigms are changing. I also gave you the kind of skills I think will help you thrive And now I've spoken to you about the jobs that are going to be out there. Now, when Anbu from ICT Academy had reached out to me to speak, he said, "Hey, can you talk about the job of the future? But you would be failing if you don't really touch upon COVID and what COVID is doing in near term to workforce, right?" So this is my opinion on COVID and its impact. I think what COVID certainly is doing, it is challenging the culture. It is challenging two people who would come together, sit and solve a problem, to sit in the comfort of their houses and work together virtually to solve a problem. Motivations are an issue. No, the fear of unknown are an issue. So organizations are grappling with culture today. Collaboration is an issue. Portable workspaces have become a norm, right? Each of us, like Dr. Vora also said, each of us are embracing work from anywhere, learn from anywhere paradigms, which is very, very impressive. Automation is getting accelerated. Everything that I spoke about, saying this is going to happen, has been accelerated at an accentuated pace by COVID, right? Now, India is getting used to it. In India, in an old economy company, a manager is used to having 20, 30 people right under his nose and getting work done. Today, he's getting it done in a distributed model, which means tomorrow, he will be okay with a gig economy. He can have part-timers who can come in and do a certain gig, do a job for him and go, which would mean when you pass out, you can actually be working in 5 different companies on the same day and earning 5 different salaries. That's quite possible. Now, imagine if it's an acceptable practice to work from anywhere. What will it do to all the women who stayed back because they had birthed a child? What would it do to people who are differently abled who have not taken up a job because they couldn't travel? That is going to be a brilliant winner to me, because diversity and inclusion will thrive in this gig economy. Lastly, like I spoke in past, skill will be valued more than a degree. More education is not an answer. Micro degrees will evolve. Certification courses will be valued more. You will be hired for what you know, what you specialize in, and not for where you pass from over a period of time. So this is significantly happening in short to medium time. What I spoke in the previous slide is going to be happening in a medium to long term. Having said that, my post word on the virus issue, to quote Leon Magnuson, is, in this situation, it's not the most intellectual of the species that will survive. It is not the strongest species that will survive. It is not but the species that will survive is the one that is able to adapt and adjust itself to this changing environment, including the changing learning paradigm that I spoke about. So have that in mind, you all. And closing provocations for you all, I would like you to, every day when you get up or when you go to bed, think about, what are you doing differently when compared to what you did last year or what you did before you heard me out today? Are you able to embrace a new skill set or a growth mindset to adjust yourself to this changing paradigm? Are you able to embrace digital in whatever little small way? Mind you, going digital doesn't mean all of you should become coders. You could be an artist, you could be a painter, you could be whatever. But embracing digital will give you exponential growth in future, like I've spoken about in more than one ways. And lastly, my closing provocation is, are you leading the change or are you being led by the change that's happening around you? I would urge you to focus on how can you get into a position where you can lead the change. One last comment. Today's scenario, to me, reflects, for literature buffs, like how Charles Dickens begins painting this whole picture in Tales of Two Cities, where he talks about the French Revolution and London, where he says it was the best of the times and it was the worst of the times, to show the contrast between two cities. Today, our situation is metaphorically like that. We are living in the best of the times because we have technological advancement, because we have advancement in medicine, extreme longevity, so on and so forth. And we are also living in the worst of the time because we have issues like COVID we still can't manage, because we have global poverty and hunger, because we have pollution, we have basic challenges and SDG issues. So that is the situation which is very reflective of this quote. And to me, despite that, I'm extremely excited that the future is in the hands of such brilliant people as you are, and such great organizations like ICT Academy, who enable you with platforms like this to tell you what is going to happen around the bend and prepare you for the future. Extremely hopeful. Thanks a lot for your patient hearing, and I'm open for questions. And I hope that, all right, I hope I made it on time, and I hope I can answer a few questions if you have any.
Yes, sir. Very much, very much. Thank you very much. In fact, more than questions, it's all people are taking time to even imbibe what you're telling. Because you set all together a different context when everybody was speaking. Most of them are dwelling upon the future technologies and how learning is going to change. I think you brought in various different perspectives, and you made people to even think. Sit back and think. Oh my God, this is going to happen now. It's time. In fact, your point. Not just for individuals, for organizations, for everybody. So thank you very much for this wonderful session, and thanks a lot. If there is any question, I'll get back. I'll get it to you.
Perfect. And congratulations for hosting such a great virtual event. This is my first virtual event, and wish everybody and my fellow speakers and all the students out there a brilliant life ahead. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All teachers.
All teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.